This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There we go. I just going back and forth with the folks from Kansas. Going to go see a little Kansas on Saturday after the NFL draft is done in Vegas. Kansas is in Vegas, so
not the basketball team, right?
No. We're going to rock and roll, baby. We're going to rock and roll. And by the way, on Saturday, when I'm done there on Saturday, I will, if there's a listener that wants to go with me to the concert because Sean doesn't want to go, I'll take a listener in Las Vegas with me to the Kansas concert. So, but you've got to be in person, okay, for me to pick the winner at Tommie Rockers in Las Vegas. All right. So during that draft day there, if you're there, I may pick you. But by the way, I'm not giving you the tickets. You can go sell it somewhere. No. You'll meet me at Will Call and all. So don't try to make any money off of me. All right. So yeah, and I'm going to test you. You better be a Kansas fan.
Smart.
Are you a Kansas fan? Are you a Kansas fan?
Listen, I can't name any of the songs, but I know anytime that they come on, I say, "Oh, okay, that's Kansas." That
Carry on my wayward.
There you go,
son.
Wayward Son. Yep, that's absolutely one.
Dust in the Wind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear the songs that I hear the song. I just don't remember the names, but you play the song.
If you don't know "Carry On My Wayward Son" or "Dust in the Wind," then you probably haven't been alive the last 50 years. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, absolutely, you haven't been alive.
Crazy. Yeah, exactly. All right, so the NIL deals just continue to roll, dude.
The Nigel Pack thing.
Freaking awesome, bro. Women's basketball, men's basketball, not just men's football.
Yeah, he's spent close to $5 million. I talked to Ruiz on Saturday after the Nigel Pack announcement, and there's more money coming. More money being invested in future announcements here in the days and weeks ahead. Look, basketball, there's no reason Miami can't be good at basketball every year, right? In my mind, you play in an elite conference. You get a handful of transfers every year. It's become transfer capital for basketball. It's been that way for a long time now. So I think you can get some really good players here. And getting Nigel Pack, who was, I think, the number 1 or number 2 rated guy in the portal, according to us and ESPN and a couple of other places. Really good player, man. A guy who's coming here to play point guard, take over for Charlie Moore. And I talked to him yesterday. In fact, I had an exclusive interview with him for about, 20, 25 minutes, him and his agent. I had him on a Zoom call, and we talked about just how excited it is to come run this offense and the fact that Larinaga allows them to, let them do what they want in an open offense, so to speak. So, assuming they get this Norchad or Omier kid, who was the Sun Belt Player of the Year, who's going to make his announcement today, I think around 3:00. Assuming that falls into place, then I don't see any job off for the men's team, man.
Yeah, that's Let me be a son of a bitch. The hell is Chris Caputo doing, bro? He went to George Washington where they got no cash, bro. They got no George Washingtons.
Well, listen, he's been waiting forever.
They got no Benjamins. What's wrong with them? We got the Benjamins. Why are you leaving, dude?
Listen, man. He wanted to be a head coach. I can't believe it. He put in his time, bro. He put in his time. It's not like he wasn't there for a long time. You're right, though. You're right.
Did he embezzle some money along the way from Ruiz so he could take it over to George Washington so he could use some of it? Because you still need it, bro.
I've seen some FIU deals. I've not seen any George Washington deals yet, brother. So I don't know.
It's like, wow, man. It's so funny because he leaves. And I get, listen, all joking aside, I'm just having some fun. The man wants to grow and he has to build his resume. Mm-hmm. And that's normal, and it's great for him. I wish him the best, but it just reminds me of Don Mattingly. Well, I'll retire. Okay, we'll go on to win championships now. It's just like one of those things. It's like, holy crap, this guy was awesome. He was a great player, and then he retires, and the Yankees go on this run to start winning a whole bunch of titles. And poor Mattingly didn't win any of those. It just kind of not to that extreme, but it's just Caputo leaves, and it's like. We think, well, they had an Elite Eight run. Okay. Remember how last time, right? had a run. What was it? Sweet 16 with those guys in
yeah, with Shane and those guys.
Right, right. And then it didn't happen for several years again. So you kind of think, oh, okay, this is one of those every once in a while cycles and things like that. And man, you start seeing these NIL deals, and you're like, holy crap. And listen, think about this, okay? There are no longer any Pat Ewings or Michael Jordans or Kobe Bryants or Shaquille O'Neals in college basketball anymore. Yep. Those guys leave directly to the G League. So is the NIL now going to be able to resurrect that and keep a Shaq around for at least 2 years under a big ass salary?
Well, you look at Nigel Pack, for instance, right? 400,000 a year for the next 2 years. Is he going to get that in the G League?
But he's a good player. He's not a
right. But I'm saying, is he going to get that in the G League? I don't know that he would get that in the G League.
No.
They're making less than
only
that, right?
A few of those McDonald All-Americans that'll get $500,000. Just a few of those kind of guys. Yeah.
And
the Shaqs, I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Shaqs. I mean, they'll go play overseas or they'll go play. I mean, this whole thing is crazy. You look at the projected NBA draft now, and it's like you got all these guys from overseas. Yeah. So between the G League and good NIL money, what do you pick? I think a lot of these kids would prefer to go to college, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They get to be around their peers, kids their age. Basketball is just, it's nuts now. And there's that new academy, which I guess the top player in the 2024 class, he decided to go there. This basketball academy that was created by I forget the name of it now. It's escaping me, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's just created within the last year or two. And they're paying guys to come there and train there and play together. And so the way guys are going to the NBA now and getting there or getting to the best leagues, and the way that they're cashing in on money and making something of themselves, this is perfect for a guy like Nigel Pack or a guy like Omier, who's potentially going to commit to UM later today, getting these NIL deals, because this may be the only time in their lives they get that kind of money.
Right. No, for sure. There's no doubt.
I mean, they can go play overseas in China somewhere, and if they want to do that.
I looked at his numbers, and they're nice numbers, but they're not like, oh my God, this guy's an incredible baller or anything like that. I don't even know if he's better than Isaiah Wong.
No, and Isaiah Wong, by the way, signed an NIL deal with Ruiz as well. I know he announced yesterday he's entering the draft, but 90% chance he's coming back.
Right, exactly. I like watching that kid play, dude. I like watching that kid play.
You put him, Pack, and Omier together.
He's not even a second rounder, is what you're telling me?
I looked at all these projected drafts. He's nowhere in there. Isaiah Wong.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think college basketball could potentially get better in the years ahead in terms of talent, because if the NIL is going to be involved like this, where kids can make a couple $100,000, it's the same thing as going to the G League.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can dominate.
It's better.
And
actually.
And nobody sees the G League, right? I mean, you're college basketball, you're on TV at least.
You're on TV, and dude, you at least have the college basketball lifestyle. You're not hanging around with other men, and you can't even go into clubs or whatever. It's kind of a lonely type of life, and you can get in a lot of trouble because women will take advantage of you. Whereas you're in college, you're hanging out with other college chicks, and it's the lifestyle you belong in. It's the people you belong around. So it's a better environment for the young person to try to develop. I mean, dude, what we grew up with, there's nothing wrong with what we grew up with. It's just changed completely, but there was nothing wrong with the kid going to UNC for 3 to 4 years and playing under Dean Smith, and he would turn into a hell of a player or a hell of a person, one of the two, and move on. You know what I mean? So it's just weird how it's all developed, and like you were talking about how you see all these kids come from the draft and they're overseas. That's been the part that's kind of taken the fun out of the draft. Whereas I knew all the players in the draft, even in the second freaking round, I knew all the players because I've been watching them for 3 to 4 years on all their teams. You know what I mean? So if you tell me that the Heat drafted George Ackles in the second round, of course, dude, I watched George Ackles for 2 straight years with UNLV against Duke. You know what I mean? And these are the things that has completely changed. that as fans, we don't have that same connection to the NFL draft because of what's happened in college.
Yeah, and in the international flavor, I mean, it's been coming now for several years. I mean, we saw it obviously in the Olympic competition, right? When you didn't put the dream team together, those other overseas teams were kicking the U.S.'s ass and winning games that you thought would never happen. So it's become a global game, which means that to me, you'll see a lot more Nigel Packs. You know, you're just going to see it more often. A guy who's a 6-foot guard can shoot three like nobody's business. I think it was 43.6% last year, average 17 points a game, but he's got to play point guard. He can't play the 2 guard in at the next level if he's going to play professionally. So it for him, it makes total sense to come to a school like Miami, play in a Larinaga offense. It's going to allow him to show his talents, be an elite point guard, be a scorer as well, which you need to be both now if you're going to be in the NBA or play professionally. And so and then he can make some good money, and he's got a nice car. He's gonna have a nice car when he gets here, from Atlanta. So I think you're gonna see a lot more of this, guys. That I just had a long conversation with Malik Rozier, the former Canes quarterback. We were on the phone for over an hour, and Malik's the only quarterback, by the way, who's won 10 games at Miami in almost 20 years. Okay, he's the only starting quarterback to win 10 games in a season at Miami. But he's in this situation now where it's like, we talked a lot about athletes and what do you do when the game ends, right? Like, what do you do? And you're a college kid and you're like, well, can't play in the pros. I'm not good enough. And so I think for a lot of these kids, hopefully the parents and people around them are talking to them saying, hey, you got to maximize those years in college. You got to maximize that experience, because once you're out of it, the world can be a mean place, man, and take advantage of the NIL. And I think that's what Ruiz is doing for these kids right now. He's helping them extend that college experience, and a guy like Nigel Pack doesn't have to go pro. He can spend those extra years developing in college.
What's going on the football side? Because I would imagine after the spring game, and now that Ruiz is springing more cash out there, I'm just wondering. And we talked about this. Let's remind folks: when does the window close for these opportunities?
May 1st is the last day to enter the portal if you want to play next season. The NCAA, last year it was July 1. Obviously, we were still dealing with COVID in a way that made things convoluted and complicated. And so last year, you had until July 1st to enter the portal as a college transfer. Now it's May 1. The NCAA changed it because it's crazy. I mean, they've been putting out some numbers, how many kids were in the portal, how many actually went to other schools, how many of them are still there. And
do you have access to all those names?
We at The Athletic have an access to the transfer portal. Yes, I personally do not. But
okay, so have you looked into the names that are there? Are there any All-American high school type of players at the positions like D-line and O-line and linebacker positions that Miami needs? Well, are there any of those kind of kids that you've seen? Any names you can throw out there also?
Well, listen, in terms of the raw data, when you look at the transfer portal, when you get in there, it doesn't have any of that. It just shows the name of the kid, the fact that he's looking for a new school, and an email address. It's not very complicated. So you have websites like 247 Sports and Rivals that have sort of the transfer tracker, right? That lists guys by position. Yeah. But even they don't have it all ranked in order, of who they think. The Athletic has put something out. Max Olson, who's our transfer portal guy who monitor it, he has a list up on the website now. I can tell you this, though. There are guys that I think that aren't even in the transfer portal yet. That, how this works, man. Let's be honest. These conversations happen.
I got you. Before I go in, let me make my deal first before I get in the portal. I got you.
Yes, because that's the way it works now. I mean, and people call it tampering. The reality is it's just homework. You're doing your homework, man. Like, hey, I want to go to this school, right? Do they have space for me? Will the coach take me? And then vice versa. This coach thinks this kid is the best fit for his offense or defense or whatever position. I'm going to reach out to his people. Is this kid thinking about leaving this school? We look at the depth chart. He's not playing, or whatever the case is. So all that stuff, whether it's online and in a transfer portal or not, doesn't matter. I can tell you this. I know for a fact Miami's looking for a wide receiver. I think the outside wide receiver position, they like Keyshawn Smith. They like Jacoby George. But I also think Mario's looking at this from a let's win a national championship perspective. And both of those guys, while they're good, young and up and coming players, if he can get a stud to put it in that number one slot, why not do it? And so I think they're actively looking for a wide receiver. And I also think that defensive line is the other spot. D tackle is another spot where they could potentially add someone. So that's what I know. As far as what's the latest with football. And then obviously Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald yesterday reported on the accident involving the freshman linebacker Wesley Basainth. He was in a car with several of his Miami Central teammates, high school teammates, and fortunately he's okay. I think he had to have some stitches on his ankle, but outside of that, there was a death and some other kids who were injured in the car. And so from a Miami football perspective, very lucky. From a
he wasn't driving, right?
No, my understanding he wasn't. That happened, I guess, Friday. Rumors were surfacing Saturday. I asked several people on Miami staff. All I was told was he's okay. Thankfully, the details, a little bit of clarity came out because I had heard people were saying maybe he broke his foot or broke his ankle. That's not the case.
All right, good stuff. What are you working on the Athletics so folks can check it out?
Well, I'm going to have a couple of podcasts, one with Nigel Pack, another one with Malik Rozier. He's a guy. Malik is very interesting in the sense that, people were rooting against him. Here's a guy who won 10 games for you in 2017. And then in 2018, everybody was wanting to see N'Kosi Perry, and somebody else take over. They were just rooting against him. So this guy stinks. He's not good enough. And yet here he is now training Tyler Van Dyke and Ja'Cory Brown in the offseason. He's kind of transitioned in his life to being, he's 26 years old now. He spent 2 years at Georgia, by the way, with Todd Hartley and the staff over there, the former Canes tight ends coach, working with him, working in the recruiting department. Stetson Bennett, got to watch him grow into a national championship winning quarterback. So he's experienced quite a bit. So I have kind of an interesting story about him and life after football and what he's kind of evolving into. And then, as I said earlier, Nigel Pack, I got a one-on-one with him. I'll be posting that stuff soon as well. But a lot going on all the time. The off season to me is almost the best season for me. I get to talk to all these guys away from the field and away from all those big groups, and I can ask them questions that I want to ask and write stories I want to write. So we'll have some of that stuff coming up on in the Athletic in the days ahead.
That's why these reports are year-round. Yeah, it's year-round, man. It's the way it goes. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And, of course, subscribe to The Athletic and support him and all the great writers. And you get all your news, local and national and even international there at The Athletic. Manny, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Good talking to you.
You got it. That's our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report where you get free shipping when you order over $99 at caneswear.com.